So how did we go? Go,
Pretty
Carla.
good.
I'll go because mine was an interesting one, and it was every mind must extend in the eye of oneness. And then I was sitting with that this morning to see how it played out. For me, it sort of meant extending my perception in the mind, like extending it to the bigger picture. And then being in the eye of oneness was being in that one eye, the basically when I reviewed it, the oneness of the creator and seeing that from that bigger perception, like seeing that in that expanded state. And so I went to a funeral yesterday and I did Gary's little technique before I went because it linked to my grandmother's funeral, and this was my auntie on the same side. And I missed my grandmother's funeral for many reasons many years ago. And so it felt like my auntie was the last of the feminine lineage on my dad's side. And so I did a process. But the point with that is it then put me into the oneness, Gary, and I basically saw it from the expanded, and I just was in my beingness and basically in God's body for the whole service.
Wow.
And that's how I see this. I extend my mind in the eye of the oneness.
Very good.
Wow.
Mine was, to the Holy Spirit, it is a law of extension. To the ego, it is a law of deprivation. And for some reason, those two sentences created such a chasm between the two realities that I really love those two lines. So I spent more time this week, I think, thinking of extending out to other people. I had amazing sessions. I finished up the last certification, and I had amazing sessions with Shanti, or Siddhi Shanti. I mean, just
Shakti. Yeah.
it was amazing. It was amazing. The places we went to and the processes that we were able to do. I did the locational submodalities with her, and her third eye just like flew open. It was wild.
Wow.
And what I didn't know is she has 500 hours of training in chanting kirtan, or sacred Sanskrit, which is the tonal capability to pronunciate the words correctly and tonally enunciate them, which vibrates into the cells of our bodies and starts to awaken our spirit in the cells of our body. So I was like, I told her, I said, I want to do a retreat in Hawaii, and you come and you do the chanting. So we do meditations every morning. We have a kirtan, and we hike Hawaii.
Oh,
Wow.
And then Kahuna is on the Big Island that will take us through these really sacred heiaus, which I've been to before. Oh my God, they're incredible. So I keep thinking I want to put together a retreat.
oh, it sounds
I don't know
wonderful.
when that will ever be. I really don't. And historically, I've never charged enough money. I'm going to charge enough money, so it's a successful venture. But I really want to do that next year. Really want to do that.
Fantastic. And just so you know, I did send her the link, and she's driving today, so she apologizes, but she's probably going to try and come to the call in 2 weeks' time after she gets back.
Who's that?
Siddhi Shakti. Siddhi
Oh,
Shakti.
good.
I
Yeah.
sent her the
She's
link,
on the trip.
but she's away from today, so she'll be back in 2 weeks.
You guys will adore her.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you'll adore her.
She's one of my dearest friends on this earth. I met her many
Well-
years in Australia, many years ago.
I can see why. I can see
just
why.
love her.
Yeah,
I'm
you have
curious on the
very
total
similar
chance.
energy, Audra.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Mm,
This group is deepening. Are you guys feeling that?
definitely.
I think it's deepening.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all amazing.
I think we are. And we're not being arrogant. I just think we are.
We
I think
are.
we're amazing humans. And we're vulnerable, open humans. And that
Yes.
is an extraordinary thing.
Yeah,
An
very
extraordinary thing.
beautiful. Coralie, how did you go?
How did I go? Mine was, without projection, there can be no anger. Without extension, there can be no love. So I've been having a more sort of observatory role than actually embodying that. If that makes sense. I'm sort of, yeah, working with feelings and with actually seeing how things are, or beginning to see how things are. I wouldn't say that I'm there or anything.
Beautiful. Andrea, how did you go?
Mine is the second error is the idea that you can get rid of something you do not want by giving it away. Giving it is how you keep it. And the last part of that sentence, the giving it is how you keep it, in a way, now that I'm thinking about it, I experienced it today because I thought I had to give a concert tomorrow. And I looked at my calendar this morning and went, what? It's today? And I realized I had to do it today. And I had 2 hours of sleep last night, and I didn't even conceive that I could have the energy to do this. I was an absolute zombie, and I just said, all right, I surrender. I surrender. I know that this is something that comes out of me, that I can sing. Release it, stop worrying about it, give it to the people who need it, and just let it go. So I said, angels, please just make me as much of a healer as I can be. Let the vibrations of beauty and healing come through me, and all the rest, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to stand there and make some noise. And it was extraordinary. It was beautiful to see people change. And to know, it has to be divine, because I did not have energy, and there was energy pouring through me, and I was in wonder. And right now I have more energy than I did when I had 2 hours of sleep this morning. Last night I didn't have any energy, and now I'm energized again. So keep giving it away.
Incredible.
I guess to keep it. I get to keep it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Joe, did you have one?
I think I did. What it is, I couldn't tell you. I have been going through a lot these past few weeks. Immune system upgrade, and I'm still kind of coming out of it. It might have been using its own warped version of the laws of God. The ego utilizes the power of the mind only to defeat the mind's real purpose. Though, did I work on it? I can't say if I did or not.
Subconsciously, maybe.
Yes, it often happens that way. So, Linda, you weren't here last week, but
No, I've had pretty much the same one all the way through.
Yeah.
I don't have the phrase for it. I'm sorry, haven't been writing them down because I've usually been working, but it's all to do with the thought processes and bringing them into oneness. So I've had that for quite a number of weeks, and out of that, I've actually found, I think, my life partner. And so I'm exploring a whole different thought process. I've changed patterns enough to be satisfied that my thought process before was that I was just going to spend the rest of my life on my own. And so I was preparing or making plans for that. But because of the change in my thought processes, the universe has obviously said, you are never going to be on your own, young lady. So here you go, here he is. And so we're now making plans for our future, and it's very exciting, lots of adventures to be had. And I feel really comfortable in the whole, I guess, the process leading up to it, which was scary and a little bit sad, but now I feel quite empowered.
Oh my God. That's all I can say. That is bloody awesome. I thought you were my girlfriend, Linda. What happened? How did we dissolve so quickly? 1 week and it's over.
I'll always be your girlfriend, Gary.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Well, congratulations, Linda. That is just awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That is just awesome.
Thanks.
First of all,
Inspiring and encouraging.
is he cute?
He's really lovely. He's
Aw.
really, really lovely. And if you're having that retreat, when you're having that retreat, he will be interested in that as well. So I've found somebody who's very like-minded.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
Yes.
Well, I have the perfect retreat center on Maui. Perfect retreat center. I know Maui pretty well, and I have the most beautiful kahuna that is really tapped into Hawaii's energy there, and there's just some beautiful things on Maui that are super special. And if we get Siddhi Shanti to come and do kirtan every night, it would be bliss.
Would be.
Because one of the things I'm recognizing is that all of this work that I've been doing around trauma is really about one thing only. It's about stilling the mind enough so that our natural spiritual tendencies can actually be born and be more alive in our daily expressions. And it's super important because we cannot still the mind and awaken the soul if we're constantly running unresolved negative emotions with limiting beliefs attached to them over and over and over again, and as a consequence creating drama in our lives over and over again. So I'm all about merging this sort of trauma work with spiritual work so that it becomes more of a full expression of what can be. So
the word surrender was mentioned earlier too, and that's I feel that that's an important thing, because you're actually surrendering to that subconscious. You're surrendering to allowing the universe to help you in the ways that you need to be helped. So that's quite a special thing when you think of how many people there are and you feel like you've been chosen. You know, it's very humbling, really.
well, look how far you've come, Linda. You know, just observation-wise, and then we really should read. But I'm sorry.
This is important conversation too.
This is part
I
of
know,
it.
but I just remember you, Linda, as being somewhat, when we first met, being somewhat bitter,
Very.
afraid, and shut down. And who you are today is the flow that you've gotten into, the courage you had to get in a caravan and take off across Australia in complete faith of we don't know what's coming around the corner,
an
and
adventure.
live a life in flow. I think that courage was what opened up the doorways for all the grace to come to you, because you've been living in a relatively surrendered state for over a year now, and not very many people have ever had the courage to do what you've done, Linda. And I really wanted to acknowledge that, because I think personally you're one of the most courageous women I know, and a man that resonates at your same frequency, that he deserves someone like you.
I actually think that he resonates on a higher level, and I'm aspiring to that. And we've had the conversation that he can teach me so much, but he says that he can learn so much from me as well, which is really great, because to have that mutual respect is something that I haven't had in a relationship before.
Yeah.
It's always been about other things, or it's been about them, or I fit into their lifestyle, whereas I don't have to do that anymore, and I choose not to do that. But thank you for your kind words, Gary. I really appreciate that. And yes, I have come a long way, and I think I've been on this call when it first started, the creating relationships. So that's what, a couple of years ago, or more, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot, and it's that community as well, like this community here. And I talked to Shirley about this the other day, V. And you've met Shirley, Gary. She's been on the call a couple of times when she's been with me. It's without this community, it doesn't seem right. If I can't make it to the call, the week isn't complete. And if I had shut myself away from the world to an extent, but to come onto this call, this was my community. You were the people who actually inspired me and helped me to create again, and do all of those things, open my mind up, look at things a different way. So it's really inspiring, this group, and I'm very proud of being a part of this group as well. So thank you all, you're lovely people.
We are. We know it.
Yes, good.
We should all give ourselves a hug.
Coming at you.
We need some smooching, Joe, on your body. You need to find some part of your body to smooch a bit.
Do what now? Smooch. Gotcha.
You gotta love up on yourself, buddy.
Word. I think I might need to clean my ears or something, because that didn't sound right at first.
Look, before we do start on the reading, though, I should share mine as well. So I was practicing Shuva. I was practicing Shuva with the seeing, hearing, understanding, validating, and appreciating in conversation, and it was really beautiful to actually have that consciously thinking about, to see and hear someone and understand them was very freeing for me as well, because it meant there's no room for judgment, and I could just hear them, and then they could just it could just feel like, oh, I don't need to carry this now, because I've just been seen. It was quite lovely, so I'll keep doing that.
Awesome. Shuva's a keeper for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start the reading.
I'm going to get into some work, guys, but I am still here, okay?
Sure.
Yes, we don't.
Okay, so I'm on my other computer. Is that big enough to read?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. Okay, and we're on number 4. Gary, do you want to start that one?
Sure. You cannot perpetuate an illusion about another without perpetuating it about yourself. There is no way out of this, because it is impossible to fragment the mind. To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack or be attacked. the belief that it can, an error the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. It does not understand what mind is, therefore does not understand what you are. Yet its existence is dependent on your mind because the ego is your belief. The ego is a confusion of identification. Never having had a consistent model, it never developed consistently. It is the product of the misapplication of the laws of God by distorted minds that are misusing their power.
Mm. It's different language, but it's the same message, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Perpetuating the illusion. But the illusion, if we put that out there, it's how we see ourselves as well. Yeah. Do we need to break that one up?
I don't, but if someone else does, we can jump into it.
Any comments or? No. Okay. Who wants to read number 5 then? Coralie.
Early, yeah, go.
Okay. Do not be afraid of the ego. It depends on your mind, and as you made it by believing in it, so you can dispel it by withdrawing belief from it. Do not project the responsibility for your belief in it. Do not project your responsibility for the belief in it onto anyone else, or you will preserve the belief. When you are willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack, because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. But having accepted these errors as yours, do not keep them. Give them over quickly to the Holy Spirit to be undone completely, so that all their effects will vanish from your mind and from the sonship as a whole. Oh, that's a nice end.
Wow.
That's how you do it.
Mm.
Give it to the Holy Spirit.
To be undone completely.
I want to just give some conversation to this because I still like that statement. It doesn't annoy me, but it kind of annoys me, just in the perspective. There's so much in Christianity about, oh, I'm going to give it over to the Holy Spirit. I'm going to give it over to Jesus, and it's all done. And for me, anyways, I still get not confused, because in my mind, how I'm interpreting the Holy Spirit is my capacity to see through the eyes of oneness. And when I can enter that state, that's the presence of the Holy Spirit in my interpretation. I just wanted to hear what other people's interpretation of the Holy Spirit was for them, because I can see how I can enter into that state, see the reflection of God in that other person. I enter into a state of like oneness, and then literally all the division and all that just disappears. But when I hear it languaged as if the Holy Spirit is something outside of me, it annoys me, because in my belief system, at least at this moment of my evolution, I don't think it's outside of me. I think it is something I turn my attention to and I increase it within myself. I just wanted to know what other people's interpretation was of it.
Yeah.
I
You
tend
go
to-
out.
Oh, forgive me. I agree with you, Gary, because when I hear some of the language in this book, things like Holy Spirit, immediately to me have a religious connotation.
Me too.
I have a certain amount of, I don't care for it. I don't like organized religion. So I immediately feel one of these. It pushes away. But when I think about how you're saying it, and where in the chapter that we were reading before about that we are divine, we are part of that, so you don't have to go anywhere for it. But yes, that language does have that effect on me. And there have been a couple of other incidences that make me think of how it is used in certain religions. And then I feel a little bit of resistance is a good word.
Mine's just bloody annoyed.
I love what you're talking about, because I didn't read it like that at all. I had no resistance, and I just saw it as me doing one of Gary's processes where I've surrendered inward and I've actually handed it over to the Holy Spirit in the moment of my imagination shifting in its empowerment, because our imagination is our higher self coming in and merging in me. And so basically I didn't read it like that at all. And so the funny thing is, yesterday someone asked me at the funeral on a question that's in the Bible, and I read the Bible once about 30 years ago, and I said, what's the question? Because she'd asked two young priests and they couldn't tell her what this one sentence reflected or meant. And when she told me, I saw it from totally different. I saw it that God, the Holy Spirit, takes us in, the ones that are suffering, and holds us until we no longer see it in that perception, and we're one with God in that unfolding. And that's what Gary's sessions do. And so that's what I saw. I quickly give it to the Holy Spirit or surrender it. It is undone completely because I'm unattached to my projection or my need for having an identity with it. And I hand it over knowing that it will be undone completely.
That's similar to what I was thinking when I was envisioning this, because I often, when we're reading this, I'm not taking everything literally anymore. So, and if it doesn't make sense, I just, as Wendy said, I have to find out what's happened to Wendy. But if it's confusion around a word in there, like the Holy Spirit or Jesus or God or whatever, just replace it with love. And I can, yeah, when Coralie was reading that piece there, give them over quickly to the Holy Spirit to be undone completely. Yeah, the word that came up for me was surrender, and you're just surrendering it. And yeah, I didn't really think too much about it besides getting that picture in my mind, because I still don't really get the Holy Spirit. And I see it as a channel, so that it's a channel to God, but then that still seems external, but it's just a channel to your higher perspective. So it's just another, communication channel. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I see it like I see the Holy Spirit as energy. And the energy is the one-ship or the sonship. And there's no separation between me and the energy. And that's why Siddhi Shakti sings from that one-ship when she chants or does her mantras. She's not in any separation. She's just in the Holy Spirit or the sonship or the one-ship.
Joe, you've unmuted. You're thinking, but you're about to speak.
Something. So with what Gary was saying with the whole giving it to God thing, and this is something that I've done quite a lot since I've surrendered myself. And for me, in a sense, it's like changing the TV dial or changing the radio dial. I'm getting out of that ego controlled mindset and saying to my higher self, assist me with this. I can't do it on my own, as to where when you're stuck in that ego mindset, it is what it is, and whatever I destroy. And a lot of times that's my own damn self. And so when I say that whole, please, Lord, Creator, whatever, take this from me, it's more or less getting me out of that one channel, that one lane, and putting me into another space to kind of step outside of myself and look at it in a different perspective, to more or less see it in a new light, to know that really it's not as big of a thing as it actually felt when I was stuck in that ego trip.
Mm.
That makes sense, Joe. I always just like to think that the Holy Spirit is a choice of focus in myself, not something outside myself. It's I have this vision that everything's happening simultaneously to now. Like, I'm with God at the very highest level. I have mind, I have, like astral bodies, I have causal bodies, and then I have a physical body, and it's all happening all at once. And it's like I can be fully here, separated and fearful, or I could have my focus there in the state of at-one-ment. And when I'm there, for me, that's the consciousness of God and the Holy Spirit. And I don't know, that may be completely skewed and sounds a little crazy to everybody, but that's kind of how I've been shaping it within myself, trying to know that this isn't something separated from me. It is a constant, but it's me that separates me from it by the focus of my mind. And so when I view it as a constant, like this is an eternal presence always, but I turn away. And when I turn back to it, it's never left me.
Right.
And I like that concept, for me anyways, the best.
Mm.
Essentially, that's how I feel, though. Like, when you get into that judgmental mindset, you're not in that alignment anymore. And for me, when I say that, give it to God, I'm coming back into that mindset because I've recognized I am not on the right path. I am not where I would normally choose to stand. And I realize, okay, I'm doing this, and this is taking away or pushing me away from the kingdom. And once I realize that, I give it, and then I find myself coming back into alignment, into that channel that I want to be in.
Here's a quote that I wrote down months ago, but it is, to be in the kingdom is merely to focus your full attention on it.
Mm.
I was coughing. Could you repeat that?
Yes. To be in the kingdom is merely to focus your full attention on it.
Beautiful.
Okay. I'm clear
That's
now.
simple.
So simple.
Joe, you have the book with you, don't you?
Yes.
This number 6 goes on to the next page, and on this computer I can't put it on the one page. So would you be able to read number 6 for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hopefully I wrote down Gary's quote correctly. Might get it from you again later.
I'll tell you it again.
Number 6. The Holy Spirit will teach you to perceive beyond your belief, because truth is beyond belief and his perception is true. The ego can be completely forgotten at any time because it is a totally incredible belief, and no one can keep a belief he has judged to be unbelievable. The more you learn about the ego, the more you realize that it cannot be believed. The incredible cannot be understood because it is unbelievable. The meaningless of perception based on the unbelievable is apparent, but it may not be recognized as being beyond belief because it is made by belief. That's a whole lot of B words.
Mm.
Well, that's kind of what we were saying there, Gary, with falling out of alignment. Like it's the belief when you fall into that judgy state, switch the
Yeah.
belief and back.
Yeah.
It comes back to that question, isn't it? Is it true?
And I love that because with Gary's process, sorry, Gary, I keep bringing that up. Basically, the people like myself that get stuck in the belief and it gets squashed down has kept me in the process of separation. And then I use the process and switch the belief. In fact, it disappears and I have no thought. And basically, I'm back in the oneness, in alignment.
I love this little section. To teach you beyond your belief. And that's how you create another perspective, isn't it?
Mm.
Imagine, and people do this, but imagine being stuck in the one belief system your whole life.
I can tell you how horribly miserable it is to live a solid 38 years in hate and misery and unworthiness and no idea what love feels like, and many attempts to leave this place and all of that. And it's not anything I would wish on anybody, not even, well, I can't even say my worst enemy because I don't feel like I have enemies anymore. But it's definitely not a place to wish anybody.
Mm.
Very true. Very true.
Must be my turn to read. Shall we do number 7 if we're ready? Yep. The whole purpose of this course is to teach you that the ego is unbelievable and will forever be unbelievable. You who made the ego by believing the unbelievable cannot make this judgment alone. By accepting the atonement for yourself, you are deciding against the belief that you can be alone, thus dispelling the idea of separation and affirming your true identification with the whole kingdom as literally part of you. This identification is as beyond doubt as it is beyond belief. Your wholeness has no limits because being is infinity. Every time we get to an end of a section, it's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful conclusion and rounding of it all. I feel like going through the whole book and just reading the last paragraph of each section. Beautiful. Shall we start on the next one? I'm just going to see.
Yeah. Don't
Has
miss.
anyone, sorry, Gary?
I need to write something down real quick before you
Okay.
scroll up much.
Has anyone else got the book so they can read the next section? Because again, it goes on to the next page and it becomes a bit.
I do, V. I do.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Adria. Ready when you are, I think. You
Yeah,
finished
but
writing, Gary?
Gary was writing something.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm still going though.
Okay.
3 more minutes.
Okay.
You can get going. I'll catch up.
Oh, okay. Only you can limit your creative power, but God wills to release it. He no more wills you to deprive yourself of your creations than he wills to deprive himself of his. Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, or you withhold yourself from God. Selfishness is out of the ego, but self-fullness is of spirit, because that is how God created it. The Holy Spirit is in the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, mediating between them, always in favor of the spirit. To the ego, this is partiality, and it responds as if it were being sided against. To spirit, this is truth, because it knows its fullness and cannot conceive of any part from which it is excluded. So the Holy Spirit is in the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, mediating between them, but always in favor of the spirit. And the ego thinks it's being sided against, and spirit says this is the truth.
Does anyone else feel like when they're talking about gifts, do you need to define what your gifts are for yourself? Do you know what your gifts are? Because I don't really know what mine are.
Mine, yes. Mine, I shut up for 20 years. And it came back and I could say tickled me, whopped me over the head, one or the other. But it said, use this. You can't, don't keep your mouth shut. You need to express yourself in this way. This is part of yourselves. That's one of my gifts.
Mm-hmm. Your voice is definitely one of your gifts, Adria. You don't even need to sing it. You can just feel it.
But when we connect with another being and you feel that being respond to you, isn't that a gift?
Mm.
Isn't that an ability to, it's not a talent. To me, a gift is maybe less obvious, but more powerful.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you.
Because what, you know, you're facilitating us, V, and you're do this, I'll and you always send the recording, and you have this wonderful organizational power, and you do this. You just step right in and lead.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a gift.
Mm.
But there are qualities. They're just qualities. I don't think there's something outside of us. It may be something that we don't realize. Maybe we're not looking in the right mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of your gifts, V, is that you are willing to extend yourself. And that's a huge gift.
I am now. Remember that first public speaking course? We've spoken about it before, but I'll never forget it because it was such a long way away from where I am now. But public speaking course with Gary, and we all at the end of it had to get up and do our little spiel, and I couldn't do it. I sat in the corner crying. I could not get up and speak in front of the group.
I remember well.
And now I don't really get fazed by doing this kind of stuff or talking in front of people. Yeah, that was a huge shift.
I still got to go yell at myself in the mirror to get over myself and go speak.
If you use a New Jersey accent, it works better, Joe. You say, take both hands and get over yourself.
My Italian lineage comes out and we get real feisty.
Of course.
There's hand movements and everything. A little.
I
You
know.
don't want to be in the same room. You'll get hurt without even being spoken to.
It's the passion.
I'm Italian, so I get it.
Oh my God, they're both Italian. They're both born on the same day. What is up with
I
that?
know. They better watch out, right, Joe? And when we say basta, enough, we mean it.
That definitely helps to make, to realize that. I love that what you said, Andrea. Your gift is every time you connect with any other being, and that's anybody's gift. That's our gift, is the connection. And then, yeah, doesn't need to be defined any other way.
Mhm.
And I love that too, because even at Toastmasters last night, it was a competition and I went in it not realizing how it's run, and I ended up the last person to speak for the night. And so basically I went in blind, not knowing anything, not even a topic, and I extended my gifts. Like I just surrendered into my being, knowing the Holy of Holies speak through me, and I just spoke whatever intuitively came to me to speak on, which was bullying. And the question was about, have you ever played a practical prank on anyone? And I said, no, I would never do that, because to me it's like bullying. And then I went into bullying. So speaking from bullying wouldn't have been what I would have thought of for that question, but I have never pranked anyone because of that reason. So I spoke my gifts, my wound. I didn't sing it, but I spoke it.
Thanks, Carly. So our gifts are every time we share ourselves.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That helps a lot. Thank you. Shall we move on to number 2?
Yeah.
Who wants to do number 2? Who hasn't read yet? Carly, have you read yet?
No, and I will. Spirit knows that the awareness of all its brothers is included in its own, as it is included in God. The power of the whole sonship and of its creator is therefore Spirit's own fulfillment or fullness, rendering its creations equally whole and equal in perfection. The ego cannot prevail against a totality that includes God, and any totality must include God. Everything he created is given all his power because it is part of him and shares his being with him. Creating is the opposite of loss, as blessing is the opposite of sacrifice. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. Spirit yearns to share its being as its creator did. Created by sharing, its will is to create. It does not wish to contain God, but wills to extend his being.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Does anyone have any questions on that paragraph?
No, I'm just writing some down.
Hmm.
Oh, that'll be our last one too, because I didn't realize it's 6 minutes to the top of the hour.
I've
How
got
fast
mine
has that gone?
I know.
Gosh.
very fast.
Hmm. Who's Gary? Have you got yours? You said,
I
yeah.
do. I have two that I want to focus on this week. The ego is a confusion in identification. The next one is your wholeness has no limits because being is infinite.
Hmm.
I thought they went together nicely.
Nice.
Can I do
Mine
mine
is-
now? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Linda.
So I was thinking I was just going to go for one word today, and that is surrender. It's come up a lot, and I apologize that it's not a phrase from what's been read today, but I think surrender kind of covers a lot of that.
Yes.
Agreed.
Nice. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see who's ready to share. Carly, I could see you were biting at the bit there.
I know, I was just fixing my screen. I extend my gifts of the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
Yeah, no.
And mine is creating is the opposite of loss, as blessing is the opposite of sacrifice. Being must be extended.
Mm. Nice. Carly?
Your wholeness has no limits.
Mm.
You little creator of new passages, you.
That was actually part of yours. I just shortened it.
I thought she's riffing and making up things. That's great.
She's extending her limits. Come on.
That's exactly right. Nothing's going to contain Coralie, not even a book.
Not nothing.
Not even the internet.
My second one, Carolee. Exact same.
Joe.
Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, or you withhold yourself from God.
Mm.
But I did also like that the selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness is of the spirit, because that is how God created it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, beautiful.
Self-fullness is a wonderful word. I
It is.
will be using that
Right.
more. Yeah.
I-
My lesson that I'm taking away to practice, our gift is every time we share ourselves.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Lovely. I think we got everybody then, haven't we?
We have. Gang, we'll see you next week.
Yes. Go forth.
Okay.
Go forth and conquer.
And kiss yourself. Mwah, mwah. Come on, you guys, I dare you.
Ah,
Challenge accepted.
Wonderful.
Live well.
Callie, I'll
and-
see you tonight, gorgeous.
okay.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Love you.